Yes, and welcome back to the official Sourcing with Kian YouTube channel. Today I've got a very special episode for you guys. I recently recorded a presentation for Ecom World, which had some of my favorite speakers in the world, as well as some of the biggest brands and brands that I look up to presenting as well. There I was presenting on product development in 2021, and I'm going to give you my sort of top 10 tips, strategies, ways to develop products. I previously made a video on product development inside the Canton Fair, which I will link up above here and also in the description down below. Definitely check that out if you've not seen it before. That's more of a live product development presentation with a supplier. And today's presentation, I'm going to go over my top 10 tips. So without further ado, let's dive into it and head over to Ecom World.
Up next is Kian Golzari, CEO of Sourcing with Kian, here to share the biggest product trends of 2021. Kian is going to teach you how to develop the best products to ensure success and optimal ROI. You'll find out what to do to crush the competition while remaining compliant with the latest industry standards. Kian, the stage is all yours.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're well. This is Kian Golzari. Super excited to be speaking about product development in 2021 at Ecom World. So without further ado, let's jump into the presentation. So quick little introduction about myself. My name is Kian Golzari. I have been living and working in China for the past 11 years. In that time, I've developed, sourced and manufactured over 2,500 products. I've personally visited more than 500 factories and attended more than 20 Canton fairs, 20 real Canton fairs and 2 virtual Canton fairs. That's led me to work with brands and licenses and retailers such as the NBA, the Olympics, the United Nations, the Ministry of Defense, as well as a lot of big box retailers in the UK, Europe, US, as well as sourcing for Amazon private label sellers as well. And then as a result, I've also created my own YouTube channel called Sourcing with Kian, which all the links are down below to the YouTube channel, Facebook group, website, and Instagram, Kian_JG, where I basically give out a lot of free sourcing advice in terms of actionable information that you can apply to your business today, whether it's to do with your first sample, your minimum order quantity, working with a sourcing agent, anything to do with manufacturing. I've got a video on it. So let's jump into the presentation. One of my favorite phrases in the world is proximity is power. And this is something that I learned from Tony Robbins. And why I bring this up is that I've always found in my life that in order to achieve the best results, you have to put yourself in the proximity of achieving those best results. So when I wanted to basically master my craft and learn how to really develop the best products in the world, I moved to China. I set up an office there. I located myself in Shanghai. And in that time, I visited so many different factories, getting on trains and planes, and really just understanding how the culture is. I set a goal for myself that I wanted to supply the NBA. I moved to Los Angeles and I started meeting a lot of the players and managers, got introduced to the league, started sending DMs on Instagram, got connected. And it's just, you put yourself in that environment where you can achieve the best results. Now, I'm not saying let's all just jump up and move around the world to achieve our best results, but just you guys attending this conference today, you are putting yourself in proximity to learn from the people who will get you the best results of which your dreams are attached to. So proximity is power is just something that I think about all the time. And I sort of emphasize you guys as you're chasing your goals to always put yourself in the proximity to achieve your goals. So today we're going to talk about product development. And what you're going to learn is how to develop the best products. As I said, I've manufactured over 2,500. So I'm going to teach you what I've learned over the last 11 years in developing products. How to use that to then beat your competition to make sure you're number one, as well as making sure that we're compliant with all the right testing and industry standards and stuff like that, because that's something which is massively neglected by a lot of sellers that I see today. Then I'm going to give you some examples of product development with real life case studies and photos and stories and stuff like that, and then showing you how to align with the best supplier for your brand as well, plus much more. So let's jump into it. So I want to give you a quick example of product development. That when I started this 11 years ago, I jumped into a family business called Highlander. I'm from Scotland, and this is where I was working initially. And I basically set out and I challenged myself to make the best outdoor rucksack or best outdoor backpack that exists. And this was really cool because it got picked up by Trail Magazine, which is a well-respected magazine in the UK. And they basically made this article called Test of the Best. And they took this backpack, which I developed, which is on the far left, which is a Highlander Ben Nevis bag. This is from a magazine, so the text might be a little bit blurry. But basically put us against the top brands in the industry, which is like Berghaus, Montane, Low Alpine, Gregory, Vaudi, Deuter, Osprey. And out of all of these guys, I don't know if you can see, but the price here, we're £115 and they are £200. So they're almost double the price of what we charge. But we actually won here the best value. So if you go back, this is the best value backpack and it's against competition. You can see the scores at the bottom. We got 4.2 out of 5. Other brands are getting 3.8, 4.0, 3.6, 3.4. And they're literally double the retail price. So how is it that we can have something which is almost half the price but outperforms them? And the answer is product development, by really understanding how your products are made, what features you need to have, how to have it in a cost-effective way. So that's what I'm going to be diving into today. I just wanted to give you guys a quick example of that it is possible. So I'm going to give you my sort of 10 steps to do this. And the first step that I go through is what I call like self-actualizing. Now, what does that mean? Self-actualizing is creating the product that you want to use yourself. There's a lot of different ways that you can create products in this game. Like you can follow the keyword research and see where the sales demand is, or go for the hot products. But I've always found that the best products that I've developed have been the ones that, like, this is something that I use myself. If I'm like training for a sport, here's a problem with a product that I need to fix, and this is something that I use myself. Or if I'm hiking, this is the backpack, the tent, the sleeping bag that I use. Now, after using it in the mountains, this is where I can improve it. And that's literally how I've basically been able to develop the best products. So I would sort of use that to start with your passion, and then that will sort of give you your first entry into product development. Now, I've always found that the best products come from a deep need to fix something that is broken, or you create something that solves a problem. Because after using these products, you're like, well, when I put my water bottle into the side of my rucksack, the water bottle pouch is far too behind and I can't access it. So the water bottle pouch needs to be here. And you only really realize that from using the products, which is why you need to be a product practitioner in order to make sure you're developing the best products. And then you have to really ask yourself, well, what problem am I solving? And I'm going to give you examples of these to explain it a little bit better. And then, as I said, you really want to start with passion, because this entrepreneurship journey can be a long and tiresome and lonely game. And if you have to work until 3 o'clock in the morning some nights, it better be on something that you're actually passionate about rather than something that you've got no interest in, because there's someone out there who will outwork you because they are passionate about this particular product and it does not feel like work to them. So you also really want to be asking yourself, is this something that you use yourself? And then finally, you want to align your product with your core values, and that will become much more easier to develop products once it aligns with your core values. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So as I said, if you want to have success in product development, you have to solve a problem. Now, I set out to basically make this travel pillow with a brand here in the UK, and we decided, like, okay, the traditional U-shaped travel pillow doesn't work. It's not comfortable. You know, you could go to sleep that way. Even when you go to sleep on your side, you can still get a sore neck. So rather than saying, okay, let's take a U-shaped travel pillow and let's make it like double the size, or let's change the material to a softer felt, or let's wrap it around all the way, we're like, what is actually the problem here? Okay, those people get a sore neck. So how do we fix that? Well, rather than having this U-shaped pillow, let's just have a fleece scarf that goes all the way around your neck. And then let's build in like this little plastic mold that is like an X shape, which has a little bit of bounce back, which can just support your neck. So you can literally wrap this thing around your neck. It's comfortable, it supports, and you can just fall asleep like that. And the cost of this product is not even that much. But what we did is we solved a problem. And then as a result of solving that problem, over 1 million units have been sold of this product, both on and off Amazon. So the way I see it is that you solve a problem, and every problem is an opportunity. So as I said, product usage, this is myself when I was hiking in Scotland. And, you know, if I'm developing a camping and outdoor backpack, well, I'm going out into the mountains with it. If I'm making a sleeping bag, then I'm sleeping in it. If I'm making a tent, I'm going to sleep in it, just to basically, and even if it's something as simple as a insulated coffee mug, I have to drink 5 hot cups of water, 5 hot cups of coffee or tea to make sure that, okay, the handle doesn't fall off at a certain temperature, to make sure that the paint doesn't melt or the paint doesn't chip or anything like that. So you really have to be testing your products yourself. And while you're here, you also might get some great content for social media as well. This is a travel bag which I developed, and with the same sample, I took it to the desert in Dubai, quad biking in extreme hot temperatures, and also took the same sample snowboarding in the Dolomites in Italy, just so that I know, okay, the fabric, the buckles, the zippers do not melt under extreme temperatures, and they don't break and freeze under extreme cold temperatures. And I know that because I've tested that myself. So I am carrying out my own product usage. Now, I'm not saying travel all around the world with your product, but if it's a baby product, make sure you put it in front of a friend who has a child to basically get their feedback, to use it, to make sure you're ticking all the boxes. But I've seen so many people who buy a product from one website, Alibaba, and sell it on another, Amazon, without actually using and testing and feeling the product themselves. And they learn about the product once they receive the negative reviews and the returns. And they're like, oh, I need to fix that. But if you actually just use the product yourself in the environment which is supposed to be used, then you wouldn't have had these problems in the first place. And as I was saying, that your product development has to align with your core values. This is something that I love. And like the core values of Nike back in, I think this was developed in these core values are from the 80s actually. And once you read these core values, it just says so much about who they are as a brand and as a company. Like number 2, we're on offense all the time. Even number 8 around dangers, energy takers versus energy givers, personal ambition. Number 9, it won't be pretty. You know, once like number 7, your job isn't done until it's done. Like if they know this about their company, they know what sort of products they have to develop in order to match with these core values. And it just gives you that vision moving forward about the products that you should be developing. And the core values not only goes into what sort of products you develop, but it goes into who you hire as well. Because anyone you're interviewing to join your company, you want to show them your core values to see if it resonates with them. And they should read your core values and be like, hell yeah, this is the place for me. Or hell no, this is not, I'm not going to survive here. So once you have those core values, it definitely helps you manufacture the best products for your brand as well. As it happens, I'm wearing a Nike t-shirt as well. I just realized that, which is quite cool. So number 2, I want to sort of cover what is your unique selling proposition over the leader? Because if you're developing a product, you have to look at who's number 1, and you have to know, okay, I'm doing something that's better than them, so you can overtake them in the market. So what I always like to do is find the best and beat the best. And the one way of doing this is purchasing your competitors' samples. You test them, you find their weak points, you find where they can improve, you read their negative reviews online, you see what customers are complaining about, you see their main point of returns. Can you solve that problem now? And then use that as your marketing material going forward. Have you researched what's selling in other markets? Like, okay, you might be selling in the US market, but if you look at that same product in like Germany or Spain or Japan, you might find that they've tweaked the product in a way that works a lot better for their market, and that hasn't been brought over to your market yet. So you want to research other markets as well. And one of the best things is having a good relationship with your manufacturer and your supplier. And this image here was in the Canton Fair, and I was kind of showing a supplier what I wanted out of the product. And you can always lead yourself to be like, this is the product that I want. But you can also say to your manufacturer, this is what I want to achieve, and this is the competition that I want to beat. What do you suggest on how, what do you guys suggest on how we can improve the product together? Because remember, your manufacturer is making this product every day for loads of different clients all over the world. Who better to ask than people who are immersed in making those products? So sometimes your manufacturers actually give you very good suggestions as well. So don't dismiss talking straight to your manufacturer to figure out how you can beat the leader. And then if you cannot clearly answer what is your unique selling proposition and why are you better than the competition, is your product lighter? Is your product more waterproof? Is your product in a camouflage color that allows you to give it another purpose, like hunting or camping or something like that? You have to know what is your unique proposition before you bring to market, because you don't want to bring something that's the exact same, because you have a very small window of opportunity before everyone brings that product, and then it's just a race to the bottom because everyone's just competing on price. You have to be different and you have to be better. So understanding your factory location is also quite important as well. Obviously, China is the majority, this is the place where the majority of people manufacture their products, but different areas in China specialize in different products. And I won't go into too much detail about this, but this is just a quick map of China with all the different provinces. And it's actually in quite a small font. You can't really see it that clearly. So if you want access to this form, if you just go to the website at the bottom, sourcingwithkian.com, I'm sure you'll be able to get it there, or the Facebook group, Sourcing with Kian, on Facebook, and you can just join the group. I'll post this document here somewhere, or you can just post in the group and ask for it, and I'll send it to you. But basically, if you do a glass product or an electronic product or a sport product or whatever, you can basically reference it against this map. And in this map, I've made the areas which specialize in each product. And the areas which specialize are based on the access to the raw materials that they have. So the factories for like electronic products are all in Shenzhen, in the south of China. So if you're buying an electronic product, but you're buying it from like Beijing, the north of China, you know you're not necessarily buying it from the right location. So it's always good to sort of reference this map as well. And then, as we talked about studying the competition, you want to be buying your competitor samples. You want to know that firsthand that you're offering something better than what they have. And then you also want to make a list. And that's basically everything you like about the products. So you make sure that you have that in your products as well. And always everything you don't like about the products, you make sure you improve upon that. You read all the negative reviews as well as the positive reviews. Amazon's probably the best place for that. And then something that a lot of people neglect as well is actually visiting the retail stores. So when you go into a retail store, like it's so different, like looking at a product online compared to going into a store, because when you're in the store, you can touch and feel the product and look at the construction and like talk to the sales guy. Because remember, the sales guy in the store is basically looking at that product all day, and he's talking to like 20, 50, 100 customers every single day explaining about this product. So who better to ask about, you know, the returns and the quality problems and what do people like about it than the people who work in the store. So definitely go to the retail stores, check out the products there, read the hang tags to be like, all right, what are the main selling features here? What are they really showing animation for? What are they like? What are the graphics really leading to? What's the best features here? And as well as like, you know, join their clubs as well. If they have like a reward club or something for your competition's brand, then just sort of see like how they do their emails and what sort of products they talk about and how they position them, and you can kind of learn from that. And as well as making sure that you're better than the competition in the product, but also in the sort of marketing strategy as well. And then remember that the packaging is part of the product as well. So it's very, very important that you're better in the packaging and learn how to maximize the packaging experience. And looking at this in a store, you know, in the store, the packaging has to really sell you the product, because you're going to walk past it, you're going to see it on shelf, and it has to really catch your attention. But online, the packaging isn't as important because you've already purchased the product just by seeing the product image. And then when you receive the packaging, you might just get a plain brown box. But the packaging allows you to give a customer experience and how they resonate with your brand. So you might want to consider that, whether you're basically just building a brand for the long term, or if you're just selling products at a profit. That will then lead into how you do your packaging as well. And another thing is you have to consider, is your packaging social media optimized? Like, have you got all your brand guide, like your Instagram handles, your hashtags and things like that, invitations to join their clubs, all that sort of stuff. And if the packaging is really cool, then it's something that people want to post about when they receive it. For example, if it's a box that you open it up and it sings you a little song, or you've got a little LED card in there which lights up or something like that, that's something that people want to post, and they'll probably tag your brand. So the exposure you could get by having nice packaging could lead into a lot more sales as well. And then you can also make your packaging a feature of the product as well. So for example, if you're doing a beach towel or something, you could roll that beach towel up, put a rubber band around it, which is attached to the product, an elastic band which is attached to the product, and sewn in. And then you can have a mesh carry bag, and then basically on the mesh carry bag it's got all the product information and barcode and stuff like that. But the customers will actually reuse that mesh carry bag when they use the product. So the packaging can be a feature of the product as well. And that mesh carry bag might even be cheaper or be the same price than like a traditional box packaging, which people would just throw away right after they receive the product, but instead they get another use out of the product as well. So these are all sort of things to consider when developing your product as well. It's also lean into your packaging also. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, if you are getting value from this video, please don't forget to smash that like button down below. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest of what's going on in China. Thanks for that. Now let's get back to the presentation. Next thing I would say is that you want to basically a lot of people ask, well, how do I develop a product? Like I've got this idea for a product, but like, apart from, reading the positive and negative reviews and buying the samples and going into retail stores and all that, like, what do I do next? Like, how do I get these ideas? And I like to say, like, create a vision board. Now, the image here is not a great example of a vision board. It looks like a poster and then, I don't know, like a 16-year-old's bedroom or something. That's not what I mean. But I just want to show an example of like loads of different images on the wall. And what are those images? Well, let's say the in colors for this year and for the next year. What are the more like popular colors? What are the more popular patterns? The camouflages and things like that. What are the trends? What are people talking about on social media? Whether that's brands or people or products. What sort of brands have run its course? What new brands are sort of coming in from which countries are brands popular? What are the top packaging options? Is it more like sustainable packaging, recyclable packaging which has come from like melted plastic bottles from the ocean? Maybe that could result into different materials for your product. Like now we can do polyester, which has come from melted plastic, which has come from the ocean. So that could be a story depending on what your core values are. Looking at your competitors' items, just getting printouts of all these different things, and any sort of new innovations which have come even from like different sectors in the market as well. And then once you have, and there's no sort of order or sequence to any of this stuff, just any image that you have in your head, you find it online, you save that image, you print it out, and you stick it on the board. And then what you do is you start to connect the dots. And even any of the top influencers or KOLs, in Asia, KOLs, a key opinion leader, just same as an influencer. And once you have all that information, and that can basically allow you to think about, okay, well, who do you need to partner with? Is it TikTokers? Is it YouTubers? Is it Instagram guys? And then you basically cut all that out, put it on the wall, and then you connect the dots. And it's almost like a visual meditation in terms of ideas will just form in your head once you've basically put all that on the wall. So it's a very, very good exercise for product development, and I would highly, highly recommend it. Next interesting topic is some to do with like search volume and keyword research, because I know like a lot of people develop products based on trends, and a lot of people sort of check the demand to make sure that whatever product they develop will actually sell. Me personally, I like to just develop products on my passion, products that solve problems, and I like to create demand because the product is so good, rather than go towards what everyone is looking at and then create a product for that. But each to their own. You can be successful using different methods, but you might want to use a software to check the demand of the item which you're developing to determine like what will be your sales channel and what will be your strategy, whether you want to sell it on Shopify or you want to sell on Amazon or eBay or Etsy, and then what will be the strategy behind that as well. And then if Amazon is your only sales channel, then keyword research is very, very important, right? Like I said, I've never let keyword research or volume determine what I develop, but I like to understand what people are searching for and how is that search volume trending. Basically, is it a Mother's Day search? Is it a Halloween search? Is it a Christmas search? Is it something that's popular all year round? And that will basically help me determine like my stock strategy as well. And then after reading the keywords and playing around with it, it might spark an idea for an additional feature as well. Like if you type in, I don't know, teddy bear for Valentine's Day, it might say for LGBT community, and you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And then you could do like a rainbow colored teddy bear, and it just might spark an idea as a result of just doing a bit of a keyword research. So it's not a proper presentation without a little chart. So I thought I would make a chart about the product development process. Now, there's kind of, when we're looking at competitors, right, we can put it in two different categories. Like we can look at the competitor's listing and we can look at the competitor's sample, right? So let's go down the listing way first. First of all, I'm going to look at their listing on Amazon, and I'm going to look at their customer feedback, and that's basically the reviews that they've received, and then the Q&A option as well. And I'm going to read all the positive reviews, and I'm going to read the negative reviews and figure out what can I fix. And I'm also going to read the Q&A to be like, does this product come with a spare battery? So I'm like, okay, well, now we need to include a spare battery because people are asking for that. And through that process, you're going to find out all the likes and dislikes and all the wants and needs of the customers. And then I'm going to be looking at the competition selling points. So on a listing, I'm going to be looking at the images and see where do they really drag your attention? What do they want? What features do they want to highlight? Do I have those features in my product? Then I'm going to look at the sales copy to see, well, how do they word these features? And like, how are they selling it? How do they want to basically bring these features to life? And am I wording it in a better way in my sales copy? So through this method, you'll figure out what are all the features and benefits of their products. Then we go into the samples, and like, if you want to go to China, that's the best way to develop products for sure. If you want to go to the factory and see all that stuff for yourself, you can see the product broken down into many different components and parts. But if you only have the sample, you can reverse engineer the construction of it to have a better understanding of the product. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a backpack, for example, you can cut the fabric of the backpack and you can look inside it. Okay, well, the shoulder straps has got like this thickness of foam. Why don't I do a PE foam instead of an EVA foam? Or I'll take a picture of the foam and send it to the supplier and say, hey, can you give me a different foam? One that doesn't basically sink so much, one that's a little bit more sturdy. So you can basically cut up a product to figure out how can I improve it as well. And then, so that way you can see their materials and the parts. And then you can also like use the competitor sample yourself as well. So you figure out the function and the usage. You can look at the packaging and the design. And then after using it, you can see, is this product fit for purpose? Does it pass all the right tests? Like, can I go camping in it overnight? When it rained, did I get wet? You can basically figure out all that sort of stuff. So you can figure out what will be the customer experience. So from looking at a competitor's listing and looking at your competitor samples, you can figure out all the likes and dislikes, all the wants and needs of the products, all the features and benefits, all the materials and parts, and then the whole customer experience and product usage part as well. So that's super, super valuable. And I would definitely make sure you check all these points as well when developing your products. Now, it's very, very important to have a quote sheet or a specification sheet or a tech pack for your products as well. And this is basically makes it much more clear for a supplier to understand like what they have to be supplying you with. And it doesn't have to be as detailed as this, but I like to make like visual illustrations so I can sort of show this document to any supplier and they'll understand like what I'm looking for. So for example, this could be like the dimensions of the product, the bill of materials. In the top, you'll see the different tabs, like the fabrics and the colors, the bill of materials. If you have like Pantone colors for your brand or for your product, then cool. You can show that to them as well. You can also talk about any sort of capacity, the size of the bag, the literage of the bag, the dimensions of the bag. And they really see this document and understand like fully what it is that they have to do for you. You don't have to make this item, you don't have to make this document yourself. This looks quite technical. You could also just, when you inquire to suppliers on Alibaba, you can say, can you send me your full specification sheet for this product? And then you can basically change anything on it that you don't like. And then you can send that to, and then you basically delete the supplier's name on the top, put your own company brand and logo, and then send that out to multiple other suppliers as well. And then that way, and why this is so important is that, like, let's say you're looking for an outdoor furniture chair. You don't want to just find outdoor furniture chair on Alibaba and say, what's the price of that? What's the price of that? What's the price of that? Because they're not all quoting like for like. Someone might be quoting for steel tubing. Someone might be quoting for aluminium tubing. Someone might be quoting for polyester fabric. Someone might be quoting for nylon fabric. So if you say what your requirements are, 80 by 40 centimeters steel tubing, this is the thickness of the tubing, it must be 600D polyester fabric, then everyone's quoting for an exact same specification. So when you get your prices back, you know, okay, everyone's quoting on the exact same thing. So this is actually the cheapest supplier, or this is the most expensive supplier. And then once you request the samples, everyone's making the samples based on the same requirements. So then you can test their quality as well. So you can make this document yourself and it might look like this, or this is just a typical example of a quote sheet. You can ask the manufacturer for the quote sheet. And then in that, we'll have all the specifications of the product, the dimensions, the price, the shipping port, all that sort of stuff. Very, very key information. And then you can basically send that out to multiple suppliers as well to make sure you get the best price. Super, super important is that we test our products. I've seen far too many sellers basically lose their business, lose their product, lose their brand because they haven't tested the product. It wasn't fit for purpose and it got many returns. It took them off sale. So this is a key aspect of testing. I'm just going to go over very, very quickly. It's very important to test your products yourself. You saw the pictures of me in the mountains hiking for backpack. That was a product that was in development. So you make sure it works. You understand the strengths and the weaknesses. You can manually test it as well. Like, for example, a punching bag, make sure the punches are solid. You know, I mean, you're happy with the product. And then so many improvements can be made to the product just by testing it yourself, getting an understanding for it, relating that information back to the factory, getting another sample. Great. But apart from that, you want to check with the supplier as well of what compliance certificates they have for this product. Because for every product, there will be industry standards that you have to pass for, and there will be legal standards that you have to pass for. So for example, if you're importing an iPhone charger or a power bank or a microwave, there will be legal standards that once you plug this machine into the socket, it doesn't blow up after 12 hours. And you have to get a certificate that tests that, so it warrants it as fit for purpose and fit for sale. But if you're just doing a backpack, there's no legal requirements for a backpack, but it is important that you pass the industry standards, like the fabric doesn't tear if you have more than 20 kilograms in the product. So you always want to ask the factory first, what testing certificates do you have for this product? They will send it to you, make sure you're happy with it. But then you want to verify those testing certificates with a third party. So Intratec and SGS are very good third-party testing companies, and you can email them and say, hey, I'm going to be importing these power banks from China to the US. Can you let me know what are the legal standards and what are the industry standards that I have to pass for in order to import these products? They'll give you a list of the testing. You'll be like, okay, cool, I'll do that, and that. You pay for them, they'll do the testing, they'll give you the report, then you can import the products knowing that you have the testing certificates in your hand with your brand name on it, and then you're able to sell it. And then also you can get influencers to test the product for you as well. And as you're developing a product, you can pass it to an influencer to say, hey, I'm interested in bringing this product to market. I would love to get your feedback. Maybe make some changes that they've suggested so they feel like they're a part of the development of this product as well, so that when you start selling it, they're going to be more likely to post it because they're like, hey, this is a product that I helped develop, check it out from this store. So you always, if you have partnerships with influencers, or if you want to reach out to them, through Instagram or whatever, it's always beneficial to get them involved in the testing and the development of a product as well. One thing I'd also add is don't overdevelop. And what I mean by this is that, like, we can all be guilty of just trying to make the perfect product, but that takes far too much time, right? So I always say, like, develop until it's 80% ready. And what I mean by that is that, like, it might take a month to develop a product from 0 to 80%, but it might take another 3 months to get it from 80% to 100%. So it's much better. I would say I'm ready to launch when I get it to what I'm 80% happy with, because that also gives you room for improvement. So when you launch a product, and then you bring it to market, as soon as it hits market, you're already working on the next iteration, which can improve it. So if you feel like there's going to be copycats, or some people who are going to buy your product, send it to another factory, and they're going to copy you, well, by the time they've brought out a copy of your product, you've already come out with the next better version as well. But if you developed it to 100% and then someone copies you, well, then you've both got the exact same product in the market as well. You also want to think about timelines, because for certain products, you might have a certain window of opportunity. Like, for example, massage guns was such a hot product. But if you took a long time to develop it, by the time you brought it to market, there were so many other competitors out there with the same product. But if you just jumped on it fast and was like, okay, cool, I'm going to bring this out. Yes, there's improvements that can be made, but we'll make that on the next iteration. And then also, if your product is seasonal, like if you're doing like winter gloves, or like, I don't know, any product which is seasonal for either Valentine's or for fall or autumn, winter, like whatever, you want to make sure that you get that product in stock for that correct season. So you don't want to be overdeveloping as well. This is a picture of one of my best suppliers. It's me in the middle. That's my brother on the right as well. And I always say that it's important, even when developing the products, is to align with the manufacturer that fits your purpose. Because we're in a fortunate position that we have so many different suppliers that we can choose from. There's so many, like whether we go to China, whether we go to the Canton Fair, whether we source from Alibaba, 1688, there's so many different resources. But we get the choice of who we work with. We get the choice to say, right, here's your deposit, here's your purchase order, let's start the business together. So you can consider, right, there's factories which are big and there's factories which are small. And there's advantages and disadvantages of each. If you just want a low minimum order quantity, maybe it's better that you work with a smaller factory because they're more flexible to your needs. But if you have like high volume, big orders, and it's maybe better you work with a big factory which has like strict procedures in place, fast production capabilities, massive economies of scale, and they might be better for you. Same way, if you're trying to make a decision, should I work with a factory or a trading company? There's pros and cons of each. Whether the factory will be flexible to your needs, or whether they're going to be strict, or whether the factories sell on Amazon themselves or whether they don't sell. Those are all things you might want to take in consideration before choosing your supplier for your product. And then, are they an innovative factory which has come up with a lot of new products? Or could they be known as a copycat factory, which once you develop a product, they're going to copy it and they're going to bring it to market as well. So you have to legally protect yourself against your designs and get your design patents and utility patents and stuff like that. Maybe get your NNN, non-disclosure agreements with your manufacturer as well. So those sort of things come into consideration when we're choosing our manufacturer. And kind of like my final product development tip is to basically make one item yourself as well. And this is a travel bag which I was developing, and I went to the factory, and the image on the top left is me sort of testing it. I think I had 40 kilos in the bag, and I put it in this machine which pumped the bag up and down 200 times. And so I know from that I was testing the strength of the shoulder straps, so the shoulder straps don't come apart if there's a heavy load in the bag. I actually get it on the sample room and I make one item myself. And why this is so important is that before I ever went into a factory, right, I just thought of a backpack as like one unit on a shelf. But now, after being in a factory, I see that backpack in 30 different pieces. I see the shoulder strap, the foam that goes in the shoulder straps, the webbing, the zippers, the buckles, the pullers, the inside lining, the waterproof coating, so many different areas of the bag, right, which then get cut and sewn and pieced together. So now in my head, if I've got like a $15 product and I need to make it a $13 product, I've got 30 different calculations which I can make in my head to say, well, okay, instead of doing the curved stitch, let's just do the flat stitch, because that will save more time, less labor cost. But I understand that because I've been through the process. So yes, if you can get out to a factory, great. If you can't get out to a factory, you might want to consider reverse engineering your product to understand like how it was pieced together. And then once you go into the factory, you can see all the different materials that you have access to as well. Very, very important for developing, your next product and future products and stuff like that as well. So this is kind of product development in 2021. We talked about self-actualizing. What is your unique selling proposition over the leader? Studying the competition, creating a vision board, search volume and keyword research, creating a spec sheet and receiving your quote sheet, testing your products, not over-developing your products, aligning with the manufacturer that fits your purpose, and making one item yourself as well. But I do have a YouTube channel, as I mentioned, Sourcing with Kian. So I highly recommend you guys check that out if you want to learn more about sourcing for myself. And I'd greatly appreciate if you could also subscribe to the channel as well. It would mean a lot to me as well. And if you want to get in touch with me more, I do have a website. I'm also on Instagram, Kian_JG. And then if you check that out, if you go to the stories, when I've been in China, I've uploaded stories in the factories with suppliers developing products. So if you want to see more stuff like that, you can check it out on my Instagram as well. So glad to see you all today. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon. And thanks to Ecom World for having me. All the best. Take care. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that these birds to shut up. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that presentation. As I said before, definitely check out my live product development video inside the Canton Fair, which will play next right here, and I'll see you over in the Canton Fair.